Welcome to my channel and welcome to the series of videos which I usually film each December about all my coloring books and my colored pictures. It's very interesting for myself also to look back at my old works, maybe at some forgotten books which I don't color very frequently, and also to look at my own progress. Traditionally, I start with books with cute animals, because that's a subject which I absolutely love to color, and it's also books which are printed on very good paper in good quality. Of course, it's very helpful for colorists, and it makes us to color in them more frequently if they have nice paper. So, of course, to color on such paper, it's additional pleasure. We will start with Nelco Neco, book with cats, a book with girl, which I also have. I will show you in different video. And then I will show you all my works in Kanoka Yaguza. Here we have this lovely big book, where I sometimes love to do smaller projects like this one. I think that through the book I will repeat the same characters, because we have several pictures where we have Tom, where we have Daisy, and of course other cats. So here I tested some colors which I prefer to use for their fur, for their clothes. Clothes I will change, color for the fur I will keep. And my favorite media in this book for the cats, it's Prismacolor pencils, but for the backgrounds I love to experiment. For example, let's have a look at this one. I immediately knew how I want to color roses, because obviously picture was inspired by Alice in Wonderland, so they had to be in white and red. And I knew which colors I wanted to use for the cat dressed as rabbit and for the suit, but my biggest problem was the background. My initial idea was to use something as a basic color and then to use stencil and distress oxides to create pattern similar to the back of the playing card. This idea almost ruined my background. It looked awful. I didn't change colors carefully. I have a limited amount of distress oxides, so colors were really wrong. And it was the beginning of coloring. I was disappointed, but I knew that I don't want to abandon this page. So thanks to acrylic paint, I think that I managed to save it. Maybe it's not perfect. I usually prefer more plain, solid and dense background color, but here I already applied 2 layers, trying to mask this first disaster. Apart from it, I think that the main image is very lovely. I tried to do slightly unusual color accents on the roses, a little bit of pink I added, and I also tried carefully to calculate all the reflections on the glass surface of the watch, so leaves and roses, they also create those reflections. So quite well, despite the initial problems with the background, but thanks to my relatively big stash of art supplies, I was able to find paint to save it, and my experiments with distress oxides I will continue on other pictures, because it was a lovely idea and it's sad that I didn't manage to actually put it on paper. Next one I did using Derwent ink pens on the first step. I did all this boring area of grass using Derwent ink pens, also leaves, and then main image Prismacolors again. And I use this method of underpaint of ink pens and then work with Prismacolors already on several pictures. I think that it's very helpful. First, it makes me happy that my ink pens, they don't laying idly in their box without any work. I started to use them much more frequently, and also it helps to color quicker. One thing is when you only need to maybe increase shadows to add some details, and totally other thing when you need to blend all those areas of grass. It's not interesting and it's very time consuming. So combo of Inktense and Prismacolors for me works quite well. The same technique I used here. All these leaves and this bottom part of the grass I did with Inktense, and then flowers, mainly, which obviously some of the leaves and bushes I did with Prismacolor pencils. Something is bothering me here. It's kind of lack of perspective. Maybe I had to use less intense colors. So this is not my favorite. I do love some elements like these flowers, like the tree house obviously, but well, balance of colors, maybe it's a little bit too vibrant. I have to calculate more carefully next time. Okay, so next we have this page, which again I did with Inktense. Inktense shades, they were very helpful to do this faded grass. On top of Inktense I added shadows, and here I think that I remembered those problems with the previous page. Here we can see perspective much better. Warmer and more vibrant colors on the foreground, colder, more muted colors, less vibrant for the forest which we have behind. And I do love this contrast between relatively muted colors here and several vibrant color accents like cats' dresses and those grape leaves. So this one, it was okay. Next, my lovely spread with Halloween. Oh no, just a moment. Here we have this Thanksgiving page. When I did this one, I remember that I very quickly did all vegetables, fruits, and even cats. My problem was, do I want to add the background or no? And I added only a little bit. It's kind of something water soluble, maybe watercolors, maybe water soluble pencils. I don't remember, it was last year or maybe 2 years ago. Anyway, for Thanksgiving I did it previous autumn, I think. And I think that the girl here is my favorite character because I love her stylized dress and how all those magenta colors look together with colors of pumpkins and corn. I always was intrigued by those multi-colorful corns, because here we usually have yellow corn and corn with brown or purple seeds. We don't have such variety here. So when I saw it on pictures, it was very interesting and unusual for me. Well, lovely grapes, but after this page I realized that I need to practice more because they don't look transparent. Apart from these grapes, everything else was good, and I am glad that I did a very light shading of the background. It really complements the look of the page. And now this spread for Halloween, where I combined everything. Neo colors for the background, then those trees and grass and basic layer of pumpkins, everything Inktense. That's actually where I discovered how well and how helpful Inktense are on this paper and in this book. Of course, I deepened shadows, I added more color accents like highlights on them, red or purplish shadows between all characters and beneath pumpkins, but it really helped me to color relatively boring parts like those trees or sky, quick, easy and fun. I really love that moment when I apply water to Neo colors or to Inktense. And of course, cats I did with Prismacolors. It was interesting to experiment how to shade light fabric here, and totally different way how to shade fabric here. All of them are lovely. The girl is my favorite, but I think that it's one of my best finished pictures, honestly. That was the page which I did first in this book. Here I can't say that I was completely happy with this one. There are several things which I don't know, bothered me. I don't like how I did all the girls. I realized that maybe I need to do more prominent texture of fur. That paper allows me to work more carefully. The only face which I love here is of the father. I somehow think that it's father, not mother. Okay, doesn't matter. And I love the fireplace. So this one left me with mixed feelings, like I didn't put all my efforts into this one. So next projects I try to do more carefully. Of course, I selected this one because I'm also a huge fan of pizza. So when I saw page with pizza, I had to do it. Well, next there have to be my fashionable favorite cat. I love him with all my heart. That's definitely where I put all my skills, all my knowledge how to do metals. And I did 3 types of them. You can see the first, the second, and the third. I tried to make them more interesting by adding everywhere those vibrant blue reflections, starting from reflections on metal and then also similar reflections on his coat. I wasn't sure that this will work, this bluish highlight on the black grape coat, but it actually worked. So of this one I'm also extremely proud. I think that I managed to color nicely everything: leather, fabric, and also fur of cat. Thankfully face wasn't very big, so I didn't struggle a lot, and definitely it's another one of my best pictures. Next, I did it last Christmas. It was difficult time mentally. I didn't feel any Christmas spirit at all, but this one really helped me. I had a lot of fun. It's a difficult page. I did it step by step, from the fireplace, where I wanted to use something unusual for the stones and to do carefully all the reflections. Then this huge tree. It was very nicely depicted by Nelco Neco. Very easy to color even for beginners, because there were already shadows between branches, so tree already looked three-dimensional. But I tried my best to put more yellowish colors on the side, which is more highlighted by the fireplace, to do this one slightly darker than all those bubbles with their highlights and reflections. Well, lovely. So it's also work which was slowly, but in the end I was proud of myself, and I told myself that even if it's the only work which I managed to do before Christmas, I still will be proud of my achievements for that December. And finally I have a lovely page with Grandma Daisy. I decided that because I did 2 pictures with fireplaces in a row, I want to use totally different color combos. So here we have those brown bricks, and again everything nicely highlighted by this warm light. Probably the biggest problem for me was this quilt. It was the last element which I had to color, and I was really afraid that very colorful pattern would ruin the whole effect. The rest was in all those dark, rich colors. So this quilt I colored very carefully. I think that everything worked. Grandma Daisy definitely is my favorite element here. I love her face. I think that I will repeat this color palette on the fur with a whiter nose and stripe along the nose, and then gray fur. Very nicely looking, and of course I love her dress. I tried to show all the folds on the fabric. I love to color dresses, so it's always pleasure for me. It's one of the best books, and you know how quickly these books they disappear. So if you can, get yourself a copy, because paper is great, pictures are great, and you will have fun through the year, because it has pictures for 4 seasons, and also pictures with pirates, pictures from Alice in Wonderland. Well, absolutely amazing. And now we are moving to Kanoka Yaguza. My poor two first books, Rhapsody in the Forest and Mano. Sadly, now when I also have Symphony and when I have Leon's Journey, especially Leon, these first books, they sadly are completely abandoned. It doesn't mean that I don't intend to color them, but you know what is the new love, new exciting feeling from the new book, and also of course you can see progress of Kanoka Yaguza. Comparing this one, which was made digitally, you can see repeated elements, still huge amount of lovely things, very cute pictures, but the Leon book, it's where she started to be definitely on top of the list of the colorists, together with Kerber and some other people, but well, you can see progress, and I am very happy that I have books from the beginning to the current moment. I hope not the last one, but current moment in the art of Kerber of Kanoka Yaguza. I wish that she would publish more books, but well, not very quickly, because I just started to color Leon, and sadly that's what caused abandonment of the Rhapsody and Mano. But still, before I got Symphony and Leon, I managed to do quite a lot of pictures here. I really enjoy those pictures printed on different paper, on craft. Totally different experience in coloring. Lovely pictures, slightly crowded, maybe with too many elements, but I'm sure that one day I will color something here. And it's fun to look back at some of my yearly works, where that was the one page which I had for Easter, so of course I colored it. I definitely one day will do the page with perfumes. I think that it's great. One day I will do this one. It's also one of my favorites. I have those skaters. You know that I love figure skating, so of course I had to color them. And here I was so proud when I colored his face. I think that it was the best element. Her dress was the least favorite element. This huge spread, which I colored, I think that longer 4 months. I was confused by some elements like those halo around the candles, but I absolutely love those flowers, so I wanted to do the page. Many fond memories, but if you follow my channel for a long time, you probably have seen those pictures 100 times. I love to brag with my Kanoka Yaguza books, to show them as my way, as my progress, because I also can see my own progress in these books. I definitely will do this book, these pictures. I wanted to color them this summer, and then I was distracted to Symphony, where we also have pictures with similar deserts, with ice creams. But please wait for me. I will color you just a little bit later. That's my marine spread, where I experimented a little bit with watercolors. Paper is great for watercolor paints. Yeah, another reason to continue coloring in Rhapsody and Mano, and that's paper. Because when after these two books I received Symphony, I have Japanese edition, but I have heard similar reviews of English edition of Symphony of Cute Animals. Paper is far from this beauty. I'm glad that in Leon she returned to this high quality, and paper is Leon is absolutely amazing. Also, it's a rare books where I have very decent title pages. Usually I manage either to test art supplies on the first page, or to ruin it, to do only part of it and then abandon. So finally, some books which look decent starting from the title page. In Mano, I have bigger amount of finished pictures. Before I got Symphony, it was my favorite book. Again, I enjoy doing pictures on this paper. And let's go from this spread. On this paper, I even don't mind to do the whole background with pencils. Maybe blending isn't great. Maybe now, when I also have alcohol-based blenders, I could do it more accurate. But apart from it, I think that it's lovely. So usually, I don't have any regrets about these finished works. Thoughts that I would redo them. No, here I used watercolor for the wallpaper background. These flowers, which I decided to color without any background, and I think that it was the right decision. Only a little bit of peach and cream shading behind the central part. I think that flowers are vibrant enough to look nice even without the background. Maybe it's slightly strange to look from the back. Yes, it's easier to flip, but let's start from the beginning. Sorry guys. Again, I have normal title page. Why I can't do it in every book, I don't know. Then the spring spread. I love to color ducks, ducklings, especially ducks, because they have those dark, almost black feathers where I can play a little bit with color accents to add blue or green shining, so I love to color them. A lot of cats, a lot of bunnies. I think that it was very fun coloring when I decided to do one baby similar to father and the rest looking like mother. Very warm, very nice page. I also experimented with Prismacolors, with what kind of colors I can use for wallpapers, because I did several such pictures with rooms inside of the cat's house. I will show you in a moment. I even don't mind to color such kind of collages, which I usually don't like, but here everything is lovely. On one day I hope to do this spread. You can see that my style varies a little bit. I don't mind to do acrylic background or one color pencil background. That's Arctic's pencil. I think that half of my Arctic's pencil went into this area, but at least I didn't spend Prismacolors. And that's acrylic paint. This one done completely with Prismacolors. That's also Prismacolors, and those markets, they always are my favorite subject to color. I have one lovely market colored in romantic country and another lovely market colored here. My only regret is that quite a big part of the picture is hidden near the binding, so it looks strangely cut, and that's what slightly bothers me, that we have only part of the dress, part of the duckling, umbrella. Well, now I remember how much fun I had with this lovely page. Quite unusual selection of color for the wall for me, but I think that it worked quite well. And those red dresses on the last step, I remember how happy I was when I finally decided about red, and it matched the rest of the colors. For me it was very good practice how to color all those pairs, how to color things inside of the jars. Another room in cat's house, this time it's a bedroom. Lovely babies, lovely mother, a beautiful botanical vase. It reminded me about cross-stitching project which I had, very similar delicate style, and I tried to use a lot of pastel colors and several vibrant color accents. Other pictures were to do the main image was relatively easy, but to do the background was more challenging. But again, this paper, it helps. Everything here, it's just Prismacolor without any underpaint, and it still looks lovely. I'm happy that I still have a lot of lovely pictures in this book, which I want to do, which I plan to do. This one was the strangest coloring which I had. I think that I also somewhere had this. Ah, yeah, it's still in the book. So here it was strange coloring because I decided that I want to use polychromasis for the beginning of this page, and it was strange discovery that polychromasis, which I consider suitable for all papers, here behaved quite badly. So after I barely did this bottom part, the main image with the carpet I did with Prismacolors, it was a huge difference. So after this I realized that no, never polychromasis in this book. And then I had a lot of fun with Koloro metal watercolors. You can see those fireworks, very shiny, not the medium which I frequently use in this book, all those metal watercolors, but for that subject I think that it really was quite fun and quite suitable. A lovely beach scene. Here I remember when I finished those umbrellas, it was like maybe 6 years ago, so long time ago. I almost just started to color. Even my family was extremely surprised and proud how three-dimensional they look. Usually they are very supportive, but don't put attention to additional details like yeah, the final look of the page they like, but to look carefully at some details, it's slightly unusual. So that definitely, that umbrella, it created an impression. Well, next pictures, this one I did even without filming, just almost when I was talking by phone. Those collages, yes, it's not my favorite subject, but just for relaxation, when you just want to maybe work with gel pen or with fine liner, it's actually good. This one I did when I just received Prismacolors. I just learned how to blend them, so I used almost the whole box, but some color combos are interesting, and well, apart from the face of the poor Guinea pig, I think everything else is not bad. And those stars, I don't like this white outline. Picture on the right, I love those calm, muted or pastel colors, a lot of yellow leaves, quite fun, and yeah, I really think that it's nice. And more interior designs, I think that it's also lovely. I imagine that it could be a very pleasurable children's room, and I love to color birds, so of course I had to color this one. Some winter projects. I still love this cat and how I colored her coat. It was one of the first, and yeah, I also was very proud when I finished this one. Next I have this shopping galleries and this beautiful shoes selection. Very fun. I tried to imagine from which materials they were made, like leather or velvet or silk. Very fun coloring. And my lovely cat. It was also many years ago when I managed to achieve this look. I thought for a long time how to achieve look of the mirror and cat reflecting in the mirror. I looked at reference pictures. I think that for my level at that moment it was a huge step forward. I also was quite proud of myself. This one I partly copied from Shirley XLY, some ideas of these additional flowers added around the mirror, but I also tried to add some of my own colors, so it's not completed copy, it's like inspired work. Here we have the wardrobe, bunnies, where I really love how I did the wooden frame. Picture on the right slightly disappointed me. I don't know what was bothering me. Maybe I don't like Koloriage I selected for her kimono. Everything went so well. Those flowers and building and even irises went well. But well, maybe now I would change her kimono even for black. So this magenta, it still disappoints me. I thought it would be a nice a connection with other vibrant magenta element, but no, somehow here I don't like how it worked. We are moving forward to one of other favorite pictures, and here my favorite picture is because of the peonies. Finally I tested and I successfully used several color combos for fantasy peonies. I once visited China, and during that visit I visited a botanical garden dedicated only for those Chinese peonies. They slightly vary from peonies which we have here. Bigger, slightly different type of flowers, and from that moment I knew that I love this flower. I want to color something. It was many years ago, but I still remember that impression, how beautiful they are, quite elegant shapes of branches and shapes of color combos of flowers. So that was inspired by some of my fond memories. Next, long spread. Again, when I had only this book and Rhapsody, I had more free time to dedicate to such detailed and big spreads. And finally this Alice. So we finished Mano, and it means that we moved to Symphony. Despite my constant complaints about this paper and my first shock when I started to color in this book, I think that I have quite a good progress here. Amount of finished pictures for me it's quite high. Maybe that's because of the size of the book, easy to color, relatively small. From time to time I experiment here with art supplies. For example, here I used Kohinoor Mondeluz water-soluble pencils for the background. In my opinion, still like 50-50. Something I love. I think that upper part looks okay. I wanted to achieve this soft gradient from colored background until the bare paper. Something didn't went quite well, so I had to add contrast and shadows with regular pencils. But well, I continue to experiment. This one I did completely with Prismacolors. Now I finally adjusted how to work on this pencil with paper with Prismacolors, but still after a break I return, I start to color, and the first couple of moments it's kind of shock why my Prismacolors don't work as usual. Well, sometimes I also use polychromasis here, especially when I want to do realistic botanical colorings like this one. And that's my lovely fox. I already explained about this page many times because I included it into my list of best colored animals, so I still like it. Here both pictures were done with acrylic background, both I dislike. This one color was good, but I used Arctic's acrylic marker and it created several stains where I applied it 2 times. One time for smaller area it worked well. When I started to layer, I didn't like it. Here it was just paint. Then I also didn't like how it covered paper. I tried to create some kind of bouquet, and in the end it looked like strange snow or simply like a mess. But I prefer to look at this area, and especially at these flowers, which I absolutely love. Everything here went quite well. When I actually covered paper here with Arctic's pencils, it looked better. Now it has this white waxy cover, and also, well, now I would love to add another layer because I can clearly see texture of paper. But okay, at least I managed to do decent lily of the valleys, and I also love the bottle here. About the right side, I don't have any complaints, everything looks good, and I especially love those cabbages. You can see that I actually have a lot of finished pictures in the beginning, so maybe I need to put some efforts to do those pages which I still lack in the first part of the book. But I mostly color according to the season here, so maybe they will have to work until spring. A lot of practice for poppies. I think that it's not bad. Again, that background which I did with pencils, then I tried to add something with stencils also. Backgrounds, it's my usual problem. At least here the area isn't huge. You know that I love to color kitchen theme pictures, shelves with various tableware, so of course I wanted to do this one. It even reminds me a little bit about my pictures in Teresa Goodrich book. Oh, this one, it started almost from the catastrophe because somehow I decided that to use pastel shades of castle art pencils, well, something pale and waxy, it could be a good idea for the background. Then I barely managed to finish this background using Prismacolors. Mr. Frog looks absolutely fashionable, but on this background I spent like 3 times longer comparing to what I spent actually on coloring the main image. The right side surprisingly looks very well. I love everything here, from the colors of the grass to this mossy wall. About this one I somehow have very fond memories. That's where I started with polychromasis. I can definitely recognize a lot of May green for the background, and then I finished it with Prismacolors because polychromasis, they absolutely refuse to work to give normal color on this paper. Surprisingly, sadly, but well. Here I again return to polychromasis, but only on top of watercolor underpaint. Here, that's watercolor underpaint. I decided that I can experiment with unusual colors for the forest, because usually I always start to think about green, but at least from time to time I step out of my comfort zone. And very strange decision, but I decided to use similar colors but with pencils on the left side. Yes, it was instructive how to achieve similar color, but it was slightly stupid because, of course, for umbrellas, much better would suit like vibrant blue, more logical. But okay, I don't care that it looks slightly illogical, but it was fun. Again, I really need to fill this page so we have more completed book. A lot of fun with those chameleons and passion fruit flowers. I remember that I really wanted to recreate this pattern on leaves, so it was a long story. Lovely birds, and again started with polychromasis. I thought that maybe their shades would suit better for leaves, then switched to Prismacolors. Oh well. Those first pictures, I remember every time how I struggled with paper. Now when I did everything with Prismacolors, well, it's still not easy, but at least I stick to one set of pencils and I simply try to color slowly on big areas to achieve more accurate result. That's a page which I did this summer, very proud of the spread. Surprisingly, here I managed to achieve this background which I wanted. It was inspired again by cross-stitch project, which I want to do one day. And I love this theme of Tuscany with those famous landscapes. Actually, this landscape, those buildings, hills, and fields I added myself, so it's another point to be quite proud. And I love to color fruits. That was the first page which I did here, and you can see this dirt. That's where I discovered that I actually can't normally blend Prismacolors, even closed colors. Well, but apart from it, the lovely image, it distracted attention from the strange areas of the background. Lovely Halloween page here. I absolutely love this central part. Pumpkins look slightly muted, not as usual vibrant colors which I use, but this cauldron and this mouse, they are my favorites here. And I love to color potions. That's the spread which I did for this Halloween, this October. Also some struggle with these simple areas where I just had to apply light colors, but the vibrancy of the foreground, it definitely attracts more attention, so I'm quite happy with that spread. Lovely background here. Prismacolors finally worked. I don't know, sometimes it also differs from page to page quality of Prismacolor work, Prismacolor blending. So I think that it's home party for the bear. It was fun to color all the animals. I especially love color for the bear. I really need to rewatch my own video, which colors I used here. I love this color. A work from the beginning of this fall season, when we had to color pictures with books for Color with Ukraine, Kolorowanka. And this one, it probably a couple of years ago. Lovely lantern, exactly what I wanted to achieve, but I still struggle a little bit with a waxy layer which always appear when I apply thick layer of black grape, black raspberry, black cherry Prismacolors. Well, here I remember that I started from the difficult part, that bokeh background, where I used together Arctics because I wanted to save Prismacolors for final blending. When I did this part and it looked decent on this paper, I realized that, oh my god, now I can have fun, I can color the rest of this beautiful garland. Finally the fun part starts. I was very happy after I finished this boring part. Yes, there are some areas where paper coverage is still quite bad, but I started to think less about such imperfections. Another spread which I love, I deliberately decided to use those vibrant greens as a focal points because those trees, they are made from ribbons, so I can justify using such vibrant greens. It's really very cheerful, very nice and fun page. And somehow the rest of my finished pictures I have in the very end of the book. It's like I'm moving from two sides when I select my new works. So I have this spring project. I love to color those spring flowers, variety of them. Background, it's simply a couple of Prismacolor pencils. This one, very lovely. I somehow got this idea just in one moment that I want to do such color of the background and such limited color palette for various beads and buttons. Then I struggled a little bit with this outline with white. I had to redo it because the first variety looked very childish. I hoped first to add more lace to imitate tail, but after I barely managed to do lace here, I realized that I need to stop if I don't want to ruin. But apart from those strange attempts to draw lace, everything else I really love, especially some buttons are my favorites. This cameo. Well, another one where I struggled terribly with the background. I did Neo color, then water-soluble pencils background. Everything looked very bad. On the third layer I tried to mask the worst stains using pencils. And then I very quickly did the rest of it. So if I manage to do the background, then the rest it's no problem at all. That's another problematic background. First, because my watercolors, it was watercolor with white pigment, so semi-opaque, semi-transparent. It didn't work quite well on the paper, and color I selected was totally wrong with such vibrantness. It distracted attention from the eggs. But flowers are lovely. This one I also did with Castle Art pastel tints. Then on top of them I started to use lilac from Prismacolor to blend the worst areas. But I think that this beautiful right bottom corner with two types of beautiful flowers and those deers, it saves the situation. So that was all about Symphony, and it means that we are moving to Leon. I can't say that I have many finished pictures in Leon, but I love all of them, and that was, I think that it was the first, and I was very happy that the first page in the book, it was a success. I started from those yellow flowers. I realized how much I love blending on this paper, that I can achieve all the effects I want, that I can do pictures only with Prismacolors. So very happy with this one. Then I experimented a little bit, but it will be later. So I tried to decide which colors I want to use for Leon and Lily. So I tested it here, then on other pictures. In the end, I decided that Leon is a ginger cat and Lily white and gray. I tried to keep the same palette for all the pictures where we have the main characters, because there are a lot of other elements where I can experiment with colors for fur, for colors for other elements, and I really appreciate such collage pages where I can do smaller projects and still to have finished work in limited time. So yes, I experimented. On the left side I tried to do a couple of watercolor background, and well, I didn't like it. Maybe it was just small area, maybe for bigger area watercolors would be a better suitable, but I decided that if I can, I will color with Prismacolors. If I feel that I need to add something water soluble, okay, I will repeat my experience. So that's two watercolor background, and yeah, the rest it's Prismacolor pencils. Finally, I think that's the final look of Lily. Almost white fur on the body, blue eyes and darker spots. And you can see that she still varies with dark nose or with light nose. That's I need to decide for the future works. Here, nice but sad story how Leon is catching, trying to catch the car, but it was easy to color. I tried to repeat some of the colors so we can see that it's part of the same story. Now, moment of confession. Somewhere in the end of this summer, I started to do this spread. Then something distracted me, and I completely forgot that I have this unfinished page, unfinished element. After this one, I did another spread, but only now, when I put bookmarks in the book, I realized that I totally forgot about this one. Oh well, maybe somewhere in the midst of winter, I would love to do something summer and colorful, and then I will finish this one. So that's not because I don't want to color it, I totally forgot. Okay, and final page, you can see that it has more fall, more autumn vibe. I even need to adjust my camera a little bit so we can see the full beauty. I love both pages, but here it was fun to color mushrooms. I tried to be realistic in this color palette, but the left side was slightly more challenging because I wanted to do realistic pomegranates, and you know that they have basic red color but also some stains of yellow, green or brown. So the ripe grapes, they have pomegranates, they have quite interesting color of the cover. And of course all this brickwork, no problems with paper, so I was able to experiment with basic gray colors and then addition of terracotta or orange or cream color to make those stones more interesting, those mossy covered stones on the bottom. So very lovely work. I had some ideas about this background, so maybe it was supposed to be like inner part of the stables, but I didn't want to put black here or dark brown here because I wanted dark horse with black mane. So for me it's just like an old wall, and horse it's not inside of the stable, maybe somewhere on the field which is behind of this wall, and we can see nice clear blue sky. It really added good color accent in the middle of the page. Well, maybe not many pictures, but I dearly love all of them. I enjoy every moment, and even if I would have only this book, I still will be a very happy colorist. So again, if you could get yourself this book, sadly it's still not available on majority of Amazons. Still, if you can get this book, I can highly advise it. Best paper, beautiful pictures, and actually a lot of pictures to color. You will be entertained for the next 5 years, I can promise you. And I hope that I also will be spending my next years with this book, and next December we will have much fuller book. Thank you for watching. It was a video about couple of my favorite artists, so I also enjoyed filming it, and I look forward to film the rest of my collection.